Hello and welcome to this episode of SustainabilityAdda podcast, where we try to educate, question, learn, unlearn, and understand everything related to climate change and how it impacts our economy and society. I'm Shubham Thakur, climate journalist and sustainability expert, and today I have with me Mr. Labanya Prakash Jena sir, CFA. Currently, he is serving as Director at Climate and Sustainability Initiative. He is co-author of Net Zero Trio, Synchronizing Technology, Businesses and Policy for Green Transition of India. Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to do this podcast and talking to me on Sustainability Adda. Sir, India's sustainability landscape, and in fact, rather, I should say, global sustainability landscape is changing rapidly when we compare it to not long time ago, just maybe 5, 6, 8 years ago. In such a scenario, my first question is very simple. What is climate change? How it is impacting our real life? How is it impacting our real economy? And how should and why should we be worried? Has it become more than just a buzzword?
Thanks, Shubham. Nice to see that you are organizing such kind of, I will say, talk show or show, and good to know that you are spreading awareness about climate change and what is necessary to protect the planet. To begin with, when we are talking about climate change, it means that increasing global temperature since industrialization in 1850s, the global temperature is increasing at a rapid rate. So when we are talking about increasing at a rapid rate, mostly it is a volatility of temperature which is creating a problem. For example, in the last couple of years, we are witnessing heat wave in India, and the duration of summer is extending, and the duration of winter is shrinking. So it is not only a cause of concern in India, it is a global cause of concern. Okay, so what is the impact of climate change? Okay, so you will more notice that there will be an increase in intensity of extreme weather events of climate change. For example, the floods, cyclone, then water shortages, then droughts. Okay, so this kind of events, its intensity and frequencies have been increasing at a rapid rate. So as we know that, but there is also another bigger event is happening, which is called sea level rise. Okay, so all of these things are coming together, and it is going to affect the planet. Okay, if the planet is adversely affected, definitely we can see that it has an impact on the economy. So there are various agencies has come out what kind of impact it has on the on the economy. For example, there is a paper written by World Bank which says that India's economy could be adversely affected significantly because of climate change or so. So nobody can be precise what is the quantum of the impact, but everybody agree that the impact will be significant. It's more important for a developing country like India, particularly for Global South, because most of the countries in Global South are more vulnerable to climate change compared to developed countries.
Exactly. So, in your book, Net Zero Trio, you with your co-author have emphasized on synchronization of technology, business, and policy for India's green transition. Why do you think these three are critical and are related for India's net zero target by 2070? And what do you think are some of the major challenges that we as a nation must pay attention to?
Okay, so when you are talking about net zero, it means that we need to reduce greenhouse gas emission as much as possible. Because in a modern economy, we'll definitely emit some greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide or methane. But at the end of the day, we can also store or reduce emission as well, maybe capturing greenhouse gases under the planet, under the earth, or somewhere else. Okay, so when we start with the technologies, because, as I said earlier, the modern economy is going to be engaged in businesses which are carbon intensive in nature or carbon emitting in nature.
Mhm.
So we need to identify technologies which are going to help us in reducing emission without compromising our economic growth or standard of living. Okay, our standard of living should improve. At the same time, our economy should also grow. Okay, so we need a varieties of technologies to achieve that. Okay, if you see at a global level, what are the key source of emission? It's mostly energy or energy related assets, plus agriculture and land use changes and industrial processes also. So these are the key sources of emission in any economy, including India. So it means that we need technologies like renewable energy, clean transportation, or direct air capture, or green hydrogen. Okay, some technologies are commercially viable, some technologies have scaled up, or other technologies are at a very early stage. Okay, since we need all these technologies to decarbonize our economic system as quickly as possible, but some technologies are not accelerating at a desired rate to achieve our ambition. It means that there is a it's in economics it's called market failure. Whenever there is a market failure, you need some public intervention to correct the market. Here, policymakers are going to play an important role because they need to introduce or design policies and regulation which will support the economy, support the market to manufacture products or use products which are less carbon emitting or no carbon emitting at all, or it will remove carbon from the atmosphere. So it means that you need policies. Number three is that the effort required to mitigate the risk of climate change or meet net zero, the public sector effort or the amount of money available with the government is not enough. So it means that you need the support of corporations who can also help in and joining hands with the government to invest in technologies that are less carbon intensive. That's the reason we have written the book. Okay, you need technologies, you need policy support or regulatory support. At the same time, you need corporation or business houses. They also invest in technologies which are going to help India to achieve net zero.
And the proactive mindset to achieve these targets. So, your book has put climate change and its impact on businesses in the spotlight. Now, how do you think climate change is actually impacting our economy, and what should be done by businesses to mitigate these impacts? Like, is it actually killing the Indian economy, not just economy, but at a global stage also? Is it resulting in revenue losses? Is it impacting the trade patterns, businesses of economy in India? How do you see this?
At a global level, the impact of climate change is not a material yet,
Mhm.
okay, but it doesn't mean that it will not be material in the future.
Mhm.
It will definitely be material in the future. As I said earlier, the increase in intensity of climate-induced events, it will cause a significant impact on global economy. Okay, take the cases of small economies. For example, if you talk to most of the small island countries, okay, many of the small island countries will be vanished. Okay, they will no more be in the global map. Okay. And for example, let's say here in India, we are witnessing all these flash flood events.
Mhm.
Okay, in Uttarakhand, in Himachal Pradesh, in Jammu and Kashmir, even in our neighbor in Pakistan also. Okay, of the flood events. So scientists say that the it is attributed to climate change. Okay, for example, the heat wave we have witnessed or we have been witnessing for the last couple of years during summer season. So it has a negative impact on the economy. Since our economy is very large and diversified, so we have not seen the material impact yet, but we'll see that in the future. Okay, once, for example, let's say in Delhi or Kolkata or Chennai or Mumbai, okay, the flood events are becoming very regular. Okay, so the rainfall or precipitation can be multiplied several times. Then you can understand that how it is crippling the urban society. Similarly, agriculture production, for example, there is a report published by the Economic Survey a couple of years back. They said that India's agriculture productivity could decrease by, I think, if I remember correctly, between 15 to 18%. Then you can understand that what could be the impact on the food production. Okay, but not immediately. Okay, similarly, so there are also studies that several parts of India, particularly cities like Mumbai or Chennai, it could be significantly submerged with sea. Okay, but not immediately. It will take a long time. So I was in Chennai a couple of years back. Somebody said that in Chennai there is a water scarcity for 11 months,
Yeah.
and for 1 month water is scaring you. Okay, so either we are witnessing a drought, there is no rainfall, or we are witnessing too much heavy rainfall. Okay, we have seen that in Bangalore also. So it is affecting the economies significantly, and it will be much more in the future. And it will be more problematic for developing countries because our fiscal power is limited as an economy to invest enough money in climate resilient infrastructure so that we can resilient to climate crisis. Okay, developed countries may survive, but it is also a challenge for them, particularly European Union,
Yeah.
and they are facing severe challenges or severe consequences of climate change.
I mean, so I was reading somewhere, and then I came to know that the China lost billions of dollars to flash floods because of direct result of climate change. And so, as you said, heat waves in India are actually resulting in loss of working hours, again impacting your economy, as per RBI and other data. Sir, when we look put climate risk in businesses and climate finance, and you have worked massively and immensely in this sector, how do you think the market or the investors are responding to sustainability reporting, in the sense that are investors taking stock of climate risks and sustainability targets by corporates in terms of investing money or promoting any kind of organization or trade? Why I'm asking this question, you know this better than me, that climate change is specifically also impacting specific sectors, also specific types of businesses. For example, labor intensive businesses, right? Heat related stuff. How do you see the investors are looking at climate change before putting more money in this, in any company or any sector?
Okay, so if you, I need to come out with a certain clarification. Okay, so when you are talking about we are in the middle of climate transition or green transition, there are two things we can look at. We can look at the opportunities and we can look at risk part. If I see the opportunity, okay, as I said earlier, we need to invest in technology so that the adoption of technology will increase. In clean technology, I'm talking about. And investors are positive on certain key technologies which have already achieved the scale or achieved the critical mass required for commercialization. For example, let's say two electric two-wheelers, three-wheelers, or four-wheelers. For example, the case of renewable energy, we have seen some kind of critical mass in solar, wind, and battery up to certain extent. Okay, their investors are showing a lot of interest in putting their capital in these technologies. Okay, so that one part. Okay, there is an opportunity, and investors are positive about these opportunities, and these opportunities will grow in the future. The second part is the risk. Okay, whether investors are really thinking about risk. I think it's no. My answer will be no. They have not. But if you see the individual transactions or individual segments, okay, at a micro level, definitely commercial banks or non-banking financial companies or even microfinance institutions, I believe that the concern, I mean, there is escalating concern, I will say. For example, let's say somebody who has provided loans, some people or businesses or households somewhere in Uttarakhand,
Yeah.
or Himachal Pradesh, okay, they can see that the borrowers are becoming bankrupt. Okay, they are not able to pay the EMI. Okay, it's a cause of concern for commercial banks. But at a macro level, nobody is thinking about what is the non-performing assets created in the banking system because of climate change. Because the impact is in certain pockets. Okay, the size of these pockets are very small at overall system level. Okay, so that people are not thinking about that. And secondly, when you are talking about investors, for example, if you're an equity investors, they should be more worried about climate changes because when you invest your own money, equity money, so you are looking at a longer landscape, a longer investment horizon. Okay, your assumption is that you will hold the stock for the lifetime, infinite period. Okay, that's the assumption of any equity investment most of the time. But I believe that they are indifferent to climate change risk right now. Right now, because of the stock market boom. Okay, there are many other crises happening at the same time. So people are thinking a lot, and corporate profitability have not been significantly affected by climate change till now. So
And do
that's the
you
reason investors are not really concerned yet. Okay, for bankers, they are concerned because they are putting money in individual assets, individual loans. Okay, they are not putting money like a single company.
so do you, so on that note, I want to understand, do you think they're going to be looking at this aspect someday in the future, the investors?
Yes, some investors definitely they are looking at the future, particularly private equity funds and who are concerned about the physical risk aspect.
Hmm.
Okay, of climate change. So they want to know that what kind of safeguard measures taken by their investing companies or the borrowers.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are concerned, they are looking at. At the same time, investors who are very, very active in this space and they would like to exit from their investment maybe after 5 years or 10 years, they're concerned about that because they understand that at some point of time, the market will realize that, okay, climate is going to affect the profitability of corporates,
Yeah.
be it physical risk or be it transition risk. Okay, so they are concerned as an active investors. But for a large investors, I'm not sure if they are really concerned about the reporting practices of companies or so. Unfortunately, most of the investors they have a short-term mindset.
Yeah.
Okay, they will say that okay, whether I'm increasing my return in the next 1 year instead of looking okay how the corporate is likely to perform in a long horizon. Okay, so that's a tragedy of horizon with Micah Annie. The then the Bank of England governor said that he's currently the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah, yeah. So, as you know, that RBI has been developing a kind of mechanism where they will ensure that all the investors and banks will have climate risk data, a repository wherein they can assess the climate risk before investing in money or putting any kind of money in any trade organization. It's a good start. I'm sure it's going to take some time. In that context, what do you think, or what kind of financial mechanisms do we need for low carbon economy in India? Is it the incentivization of corporates? Is it going to be a game changer for accelerating green transition? Because corporates and businesses will come and say, we want profitability. Are you going to give me profitability in terms of government incentives or subsidies or some kind of benefit? Only then I'm going to pay more attention to this. How do you look at this?
Okay, definitely the step taken by RBI is a welcome step. At least the commercial banks get to know what kind of risks their loan books are going to be exposed. It will also help them to take a better decision concerning climate change. But on the green transition or financing for green transition is concerned, I think corporates are really interested. But from the policymaker side, you need both a carrot and stick actually. So combination of that. Okay, so we have been talking about green credit or carbon pricing for some time, but still it is not mandatory. It is voluntary in nature because when it is voluntary, so nobody is interested to put serious effort. Okay, everybody will put a little bit of effort, but not serious enough. Okay, so you need to create a system, carbon market, so that corporations have an incentive to invest in low carbon technologies. Okay, otherwise they would be penalized. Okay, you can create that kind of market. But I can understand the political economy part, because you cannot stifle the economy by imposing a massive carbon prices. Okay, this is not going to happen. Okay, but it will happen gradually. Okay, so during that period of time, you can incentivize at least to corporations so that they can invest enough in low carbon technologies. And secondly, you need to give a very clear signal, a certain policy trajectory in the future, so that corporations can plan today. Okay, so because many times when you invest in assets, you invest for a long time, maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Okay, so you can, if you can get a policy direction which is very certain in the future, the decision making process will be better, will be more optimized. At the same time, as the government or the policymaker, they can also give a signal, and they will follow the signal as well. Okay, which matters a lot. But at the same time, we also need to understand that there is a limitation of using public money.
Yeah.
So the point is that how can we use public money more smartly so that private capital can come in? So I will say that it is a combination of incentives and penalty from the policymakers and regulators. But at the same time, you also need to provide financial support, which is necessary for technologies which are not commercially viable. In addition to that, you can create an ecosystem, including state policy, capacity building, and also developing corporate culture, which is also critical, and also need some kind of support from all the finance regulators also. Okay, all of them should come together to create an ecosystem that can enable or support corporations to invest money in low carbon technologies. That's the reason we keep on saying you need collective actions. Okay, when I say collective actions, not only for India, so it is global collective actions. For a country like India, we are emitting only maybe 3 billion tons out of global emission of 60 billion tons. Okay, very small, very, very small, 5%. And we have a population of 17% of the world. Okay, we are emitting only 5%. Okay, so even if we are going to be net zero, let's say in 20 years, still planet will be much more warmer because other countries are emitting. Okay, so you need to bring a consensus. At the same time, all countries should come together and do something. Otherwise, it is a futile exercise.
I hope it happens at COP30. So, other than innovation, policies, subsidies, and incentives that you have spoken about, do you think we need to focus more also on climate adaptation to make our businesses and economies climate resilient or climate proof, as you said in the past?
Yeah, of course. I mean, particularly economies in developing countries and
Mm.
including India. So we are one of the most vulnerable countries to climate-induced to extreme weather events and also sea level rise. So it means that we are going to face this kind of events more frequently. So we need to invest in assets, or it could be technologies, it could be hard assets, it could be capacity building that will help us to adapt to climate change, because we cannot avoid climate change.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need capital. Okay, you need capital at various level. For example, if there is a drought in some areas, okay, okay, how can you supply water to those areas? If there is flood events in cities like Mumbai or Bangalore, so whether you have enough drainage system. Okay, for example, if water is flooding the bridges or for low roads, okay, can you elevate the bridge? Okay, can you elevate the roads? Okay, so that our economy will keep on running. For example, if sea level is rising or for the storm level is also rising, okay, can you build sea walls to protect cities or protect villages also close to the coastal areas? Okay, so for example, as I said earlier, agricultural food production is likely to be affected. Okay, in that case, can we invest in, let's say, climate resilient seed?
Yeah.
Okay, can we provide water all the time? Okay, because agriculture is still reliant on rainfall in India. Okay, but can we create that system? Okay, so we need, because as a developing country, I believe that we need to invest in both climate mitigation and climate adaptation, because we are globally we are most likely to cross the limit which we have set 2 degree or 1.5 degree by before 2050. So it means that country like us must invest in climate adaptation.
Absolutely. And that is more importantly also because of we are agrarian economy. And if that gets impacted, the economy is under direct impact of due to climate change. So I have two more questions. One is on greenwashing, and in your book also you have explored this topic. How do you think regulators, investors, and businesses, and all the stakeholders from the academy also and the corporates also can work together to ensure credibility and prevent misleading sustainability claims? You know this more than me that sustainability reporting has become sort of a fashion now, and people are just saying, I've become net zero in 1 year, 6 months, 2 months. How do you see this greenwashing? How can we tackle this?
I mean, definitely corporations need to behave properly, but it has never happened actually because you cannot leave too much to the market.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's human behavior. Okay, humans are corrupt. Okay, so we are corrupt.
Yeah.
Okay, very very honestly. So corporations behavior are will always be corrupt. Okay, particularly people who want to make money in a very short time. Okay, now we are witnessing that the duration or the terms of CEO actually is decreasing globally. Okay, which is not a good signal because if the duration of CEOs are decreasing, so they will be more interested to make money in the short term instead of making the companies very strong. Okay,
Mm.
and resilient and survive for a long period of time. So, which is not an encouraging sign. Okay, coming back to greenwashing. So it's only the regulators actually who can come out with right regulations, okay, penalize enough, okay, to people who are engaged in greenwashing, penalize meaningfully actually. So that's more important, okay, and come out with framework or a disclosure system in such a way that greenwashing can be mitigated. Okay, if there is not enough penalty, it means that corporation will keep on doing that all the time. So if I see the financial sector greenwashing, it is also a very, very high.
Yeah.
Okay, it includes the kind of financial products you are selling. Okay, in particular, because some companies are selling financial products which is not really helping in climate actions. Okay, because at the same time, they are saying investors that okay, your money is going to be invested in protecting the planet. Many times it's not true. Okay, for example, issuance of green bonds or sustainable linked bonds or transition bonds, sometimes not really invested in technologies which are really helping corporations to reduce carbon emissions. Okay, this is some sort of greenwashing. And many times also, like you said, corporations they claim, okay, I'll not take the name of one commercial bank, very large commercial bank. They declared that okay, we are going to be net zero in next 12 to 13 years.
Mhm.
But if you dig deeper, you will find that okay, they said that only for on scope one and scope two will be net zero by
But
2035.
how is that
Okay,
completely net zero?
it's not completely agreed. So this kind of signal should not come from corporations. That's the reason I'm saying that regulator plays a very critical role. They must penalize and they must ask companies to behave properly, particularly large corporations actually who have the resources to be much more transparent. They can spend money on their reporting practices, and since they are looking at a very long investment horizon, so they can invest money also instead of trying to gain some short-term profitability or short-term credit. Many times they claim that but after a few years you realize that it's just a claim. It's not true.
Exactly. So my last question is, why do you think common citizen of this country, even globally, should be worried about green transition of India and achieving net zero? In layman's term, why do you think they should be worried? How does it affect their daily life and their income?
Okay, common citizens must be worried because we are facing this kind of issues in everyday life. Okay, if you are in Delhi or particularly if you are in Gurgaon, so see the heavy rainfall. Okay, if you are in Uttarakhand, see the flash floods. If you are in Odisha, see the heat wave. Okay, so if you are in Mumbai, see the flood events, the precipitation, for example. Okay, so and also sea level rise, which is going to happen because the impact of sea level rise has started actually in certain pockets in India, and Odisha is the first case where the state government supported people for rehabilitation because of coastal erosion. So many people they say that not many people, it's scientists say that it is attributed to climate change. Okay, so it is affecting people's life every day. For example, people who are vendors, street vendors, okay, they are not able to run their shop actually during daytime. Okay, the vegetables, the fruits, and are getting rotten very quickly. Okay, you must be noticing that vendors who are selling bananas, they will say that okay, bananas it cannot survive for 12 hours.
Yeah,
Okay, so they are saying selling raw bananas now instead of ripe bananas. Okay, what is the impact? Okay, you can understand that. Okay, if you want to go out in the summer season, you can't go. Okay, because it's too hot. Okay, without air conditioner, you cannot live. Unfortunately, most of the people in the countries they cannot afford air conditioner in their daily lives. Okay, so it is affecting people. It is affecting people who are vulnerable, who are marginalized. Okay, so not people who have an air conditioner, who have a car, okay, who can operate from home. Their life is comfortable, but it is affecting the people who are marginalized. And unfortunately, for a country like India, a significant portion of the people they are working outside their offices. Okay, so it is affecting their daily wages, daily income. At the same time, you have also said earlier that productivities of workers are also reduced because of heat waves or extreme temperature also. Yeah, so they should be concerned, and particularly if they are concerned, they should they should move or nudge politicians to do something. Okay, but unfortunately, we cannot, voters in India cannot vote who is going to be the president of United States. Okay, that's the unfortunate part because what is the step US or China or Europe are going to take, it will affect the lives of people in India
yeah.
or any other countries in global south or developing country. That's the unfortunate part.
Absolutely. And as you said, sir, we are, I think, the seventh most climate vulnerable country in the world, and 80% of our districts are climate vulnerable districts. That's like a huge, again, the agrarian
Right.
crisis, which is affected by climate change. Thank you so much, sir, for this insightful conversation. It was very thought provoking for me personally. I hope the audience also liked the conversation. Thank you so much for doing this and talking to us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Shrivam. It's a pleasure to talking to you. Thank you.